killing our water with radioactive isotopes, fluoride, lead, mercury, arsenic. And one of the few systems that can efficiently and economically remove or reduce down to non-detectable levels these poisons are gravity-fed filters. And ProPure is the top of the line. Their filters are impregnated with silver, a natural antibiotic. On top of that, they're bigger, so they filter faster. You don't have to prime these the first time you use them. It's amazing. Go to INFOWARS.com and click on the shopping cart link to see the entire family of these babies. Now, the fluoride they add to our water is so tiny that most filters can't cut it out. But ProPure has their system that will, again, reduce it to non-detectable levels, almost get all of it out of there. That's also available. And if you look at the different systems they offer, the ProPure Big Brush Finish is on a stand, so it's easier on a table or at your restaurant or wherever you have it to go up with a glass or a mug and fill it up. Then there's this big baby right here, the ProPure King large version. Got a lot of different options that come with it. Also, they have the ProPure Big, probably one of the best values out there. And of course, it's burnished stainless steel. And then what I use on my RV, something that's great for your hunting cabin or the back porch, is the ProPure Traveler. Small and portable, but packs a huge punch, cleans out all that garbage. They also have a glass sight spigot, so you don't have to take the top off and look in the bottom area to see how much water. You can see how fast it's filtering with this optional system. The globalists obviously are hitting us through our water. It's time to take control of our lives. It's time to not give our children and families these poisons, and these systems cut it down to non-detectable levels across the board. ProPure is the name. I only promote what I believe in. And I use ProPure in my home and my office. And I recommend that you check out the information on ProPure at INFOWARS.com. We already have the lowest price at INFOWARS.com on the ProPure gravity filter system. But when you add in the 10% off when InfoWarriors use the product code WATER at InfoWars.com, nobody can top it. So again, it's a win-win-win. Stop drinking the poison water. Checkmate the globalists when it comes to your health, and support InfoWars.com and the work we're doing here. You know, many revolutionaries rob banks and things and kidnap people for funds. We promote in the free market the products we use that are about preparedness. That's how we fund this revolution against the New World Order in our move to restore our constitutional republic and a spirit of 1776 worldwide. Check it out at InfoWars.com. ProPure, top of the line, #1, most powerful and effective and economical gravity-fed water system in the world. ProPure, available, discounted at InfoWars.com. Don't forget product code WATER to save 10%. It's the latest generation, years in development. ProPure is the name. We are now joined by Dr. Steve Pieczenik in our final segment. And we've got several huge issues to cover. Number one, they are back with more bin Laden lies, saying he was, killed a year or so ago. They're in Pakistan, and now they're publishing books saying that they didn't get Pentagon authorization or Intelligence Committee authorization to publish them. From what I know, that's impossible, but we'll ask Steve Pieczenik about that. We'll also talk about massive record suicides. 28 veterans are dying for every person dying in combat. Unbelievable. And we'll also talk about Obama's statement, "You didn't build that," because I know that Dr. Steve Pieczenik is a big supporter of the entrepreneurial spirit, kind of the Thomas Jefferson idea of the craftsman and the yeoman farmer. And I want to get his take on that and the whole election. But first off, we couldn't have somebody on better to talk about this headline in The Guardian. Osama bin Laden killing book by SEAL Team 6 member raises eyebrows. No classification information will be betrayed, publisher says, but they didn't get the clearance. Well, you're not allowed to do that. I mean, I think this is government getting a pass here, but we'll get Steve Pieczenik's educated take on this, because he has written a bunch of best-selling books, some of them that I know obviously had to get vetted. He's helped write a bunch of Tom Clancy books. His films have been turned into TV shows, movies. He really needs no introduction. He's a frequent guest here. StevePieczenik.com is the website. and you can go there and learn more. And he joins us via telephone today to jump into all of this. Steve, thanks for coming on with us.
Oh, it's always a pleasure, Alex. And the reason I came on today, and I want to thank your audience, is that you're developing an incredibly informed audience from what I'm reading in terms of the blogs and the internet. And I'm not just congratulating, I'm congratulating for what you did 10 years ago when it was first stated, and I said after 9/11, that this was a lie. It was a false flag, it was a stand down, but basically Osama bin Laden was dead. He was dead because he had Marfan syndrome. Now, everybody's tried to disprove that he didn't have Marfan syndrome. The problem that the intelligence community that created this under Bush Jr., and by the way, Bill Clinton started this, because Bill Clinton had already sent a doctor to see bin Laden 6 months before 9/11, Dr. Dooley out of the CIA, to see how bad he was. He was dying at that point. And the point that I'm getting is now Hillary is the one who says, or is in another book, by a guy named Nanette, claiming that she was the one who encouraged that bin Laden be killed by Obama, which is absurd, because Hillary can barely get her husband away from fornicating with other women, letting alone the President of the United States to kill anybody. So let's go back to the lies. The first lie is Osama bin Laden is dead. He has been dead, was dead, and is dead. There's never been any evidence of his body, a video, forensic evidence of an autopsy. The intelligence community, State Department, and the President of the United States never refuted my statement. Having worked for 5 presidents, I stated it categorically. Having still been involved in the intelligence and community, the military community, I maintain that this has been a serious lie that has been the crux of corruption of both our military and intelligence community. Why do I keep saying that? Because a man by the name of Alex Jones, whom I didn't even know, took that statement, and I said something that was even more important, and you broadcasted it again, and I go back to you, Alex, and that was a year ago, you repeated my statement in which I said, I predict, this was done after 9/11 and 9/12, I predict that not only is Osama bin Laden dead, but he will be resurrected by the intelligence and military community at the exact date when we pull out of Iraq, because that was the only excuse that we, the United States, had that was contrived and concocted by our intelligence community, the CIA, MI, the military, and a combination of civilians to justify a war for which we had no reason to go into, and created by Cheney, Bush Jr., Rumsfeld, initiated by Clinton, that was not, and then continued by Obama. So what do we have? We have a lie that basically unwinds the entire presidency of 3 different presidents, Clinton, Bush Jr. for sure, Bill Gates had to come in, and now we have a president who comes out of Chicago, out of a corrupt machinery, who is handled by a man by the name of Axelrod, who his own Wikipedia claims that his particular strategy is to be able to package black politicians for the white audience. That's his specialty, as he states it, who has helped committed criminals, indicted criminals, Mayor Daley, to get through patronage problems, and is helping now Obama, who has no history of anything, no history of his birth, no history of his record, of his stools, of his health, where he went to school, and now he claims that the sole reason he should be reelected for President of the United States is because he ordered Team 6 to kill Osama bin Laden. And on that day, you re-recorded, you recorded what I had said 10 years ago, and I said the president is lying. Not only is the president lying, but everyone behind him, and that means John Brennan, who was CIA, was his director of national security, was Clinton's director, was underneath Bush Jr. So you have men who have continued and perpetrated the lies, but no one has stopped it. No one has stopped it. And you have Donlan, who's national security advisor. No one stopped him. Nobody stopped General Dempsey from saying this is a lie. Or McAllister, who is the head of SOCOM, Special Operations, who's the head of the Navy, an honorable man. There are military generals and CIA officers who have complained that this lie cannot continue, and they've been reprimanded repeatedly by Martin Dempsey, General Dempsey, whom I confronted over a month ago. I can't tell you where, and asked him, when does a general in our American military stand up to civilians when they do a wrongful action against the Republic. He waffled off of it. And the same thing with other generals. And what's happening now is that lie has not only unwound the integrity of our military and our intelligence community, it is unwinding the validity of an election system, which is so valuable to the Republic. Whether you're Republican or Democrat, you, Alex, are owed a lot of gratitude, and so is your audience.
Well, Doc, hold on for just a sec. Don't thank me. This is all about survival, and I know you don't like to have your...
No, it's not about survival, Alex. We won't confront that. It's about one man who stood up, and that was you. And by chance, I happened to find you. We didn't know each other. And by chance, you came back to me because one man in Austin, Texas, I didn't even know where you were. But the point of fact, it's not about you and me now. It's about an American public. Let me read you the blogs that I read. An anonymous person has written a narrative. This is the new book by an anonymous man talking about the killing of Osama bin Laden, the SEAL Team 6 that's coming out by Dutton, and September 11th. If that is not the most cynical piece of work I've ever seen by a publisher that is cowardly, Dutton, greedy, which I happen to know exceedingly Dutton, a division of a company that I know is very greedy, Berkeley, where I worked for, and I had books done Putnam, and I happen to know the president, David Shanks, who was in court, basically admitted that he was a coward with regard to me and the books that he had.
Well, Dr. Prochanek, let me just stop you. Let me just stop you for just a moment.
Go ahead.
Because you're just, I understand you've got a million things going on, and I'm not being patronizing here.
No, I know. You want me to focus it on.
No, but I'm not being patronizing here to the audience. Right. But there's an IQ gap going on here in that we've got a lot of smart people. I think I'm somewhat smart. You're super smart, but you're, again, we didn't get into your whole bio and things because you don't like to get into it, but it's important for the whole story that you ran psychological operations for the State Department. You've helped bring down governments. I mean, so you're definitely an insider, and you're just dropping bombs here like, hey, I confronted the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff about this. Hey, other generals know this is bull. And when you say they sent CIA doctors to treat bin Laden, that was even in CBS News. You're just moving so quick here, but let me just back you up. They've now admitted that the Situation Room photo that you said 2 days after it happened was fake. They admitted months later it was a fake photo.
They could be watching I Love Lucy, but there certain was a raid.
They staged it. They lied. They weren't watching live satellite feeds. The point is a whole thing's a lie.
They weren't watching Osama bin Laden being killed. It's not possible to watch a man who's already been dead being killed twice. I don't know that.
But exactly. But just going over these, there's some new things, though, that I wanted you to address, and you just kind of warp speeded over them.
I'm sorry.
I mean, it's okay. Now they're saying Hillary gave the order and Obama didn't, so they're changing it again. And what I think, but you understand this better than I do, they never let anybody publish one of these books, especially this, without it being vetted. No. Now they're claiming, oh, a publisher's doing it. We don't need to have it vetted. I think they basically wrote this. This isn't even a real SEAL team person. That's why they say it's a nom de plume, and that this is, again, them distancing themselves when they really put it out.
I think I know exactly what you want me to say. Let me say number one so your audience understand. I have 26 New York Times bestsellers, all fiction, except for one, which is about women, hidden passions. When I write about any of the activities that I was involved in, I don't. I write fiction. And why I write fiction is because I had a secrecy law. Having worked as a deputy assistant secretary, I didn't work for the CIA. I didn't even work for, I had a military rank, but I didn't work in anywhere where I used information that I was involved with in any of my books. What I did was to create fictional characters that were composites and events that were composites. Op Center is a composite of the world situation. And by the way, by the time I wrote those, I was 10 years out.
Who is Jack Ryan a composite of?
Now, Jack Ryan was based on a character that I lived, and that was Tom Clancy, who developed it because initially he was an analyst of the CIA, and then eventually as Tom Clancy and I worked together, he developed more